Oh, ain't this an interesting sight? We're here for week 131 here in the challenge series. And to kick things off right here at the start of the week, it is a brand new track and a brand new category. For those who are part of the old guard, may remember the 500 class. Well, that has been bumped up to the 525 class and given a new lease on life after a surprisingly high number of people showed interest. I say a surprisingly high. It's, I think, 27 or something like that, but that's still enough to make a class. The minimum requirement is 22. So, yeah. 27. Obviously, not all 27 can debut today because it's a 20 car race. Duh. But there are a couple new names on the leaderboard today, and there will be more new names on the leaderboard as the week goes on. What in the... Oh, this is the pit lane. I haven't really looked at the flyby shots of this track too much. Truth be told, I haven't driven on it a whole lot, simply because, I don't want to say it sucks. The way that suspension works after version 1.49, even if 1.52 kind of made it slightly better, is still really wonky, and this track basically working like a frickin' toge route only exacerbates that issue. We might see it on a few cars as the race continues. And we are green from Eiger Nordland here in Switzerland, not too far away from Deep Forest, but you wouldn't think it because we're in a giant-ass mountain range. And the sort of poster child for slow, small cars, Yukiko Takushi, is the POV driver. She's already making quick work of the lower half of the field, since this track is, I mean, like I said, it's pretty close to a toge route, so she's not exactly in unfamiliar territory, I'd have to imagine. You can just kind of see the flood of cars head down the hill. Quite a few models we've never seen in the challenge series before. And then some cars that are actually returning from the 500 class days, such as Honeka's S660 here, that Yukiko's about to overtake. Milo currently leads the way. This VR500 is apparently competitive, whilst his 600 class counterpart is unironically the worst vehicle in the category. Not sure what the difference is, but okay. This is obviously a carryover from the 500 class. However, the car behind him, Joshua Riggs, is not a carryover from anything. This is his first race, and he's already about to take the lead away a lap in 10 seconds into his Challenge Series career, and he shall do so. Amber Ashhart with a Mini Cooper, a hearse. No, you're not seeing this wrong. Alpha Julia, basically not Mazda 6 touring car. Yukiko's already in 7th, passing Why is the Sky on fire? The sky is just straight up on fire, heading down the back straightaway here. It is 5:30 in the morning local time, I do believe. And it is quite a sight, we'll say. Nature, too, welcomes the 525 category to the Challenge Series world. You see Thrasher in a cappuccino. I'm taking part in this one. I don't usually like the smaller, slower cars, but Honda Beat. As for the brand new drivers in this race, we already went over Joshua Riggs, who's leading by a rather comfortable margin, but Yukiko is fastly approaching that location. I don't think that lead will last all that long. We have, the first one is Queen Teresh, who's just absolutely fucking barged Alex Carson out of the way. Yes, that's a garbage truck. And believe it or not, this guy is actually a champion. What world does a do we live in where a garbage truck can win a championship? Ask KoroQ that. Right in front of him is Robbie Sterling in a Toyota Aqua. He's literally just a fucking businessman from, like, the Twin Cities of Minnesota. And that is the only two new drivers in the race, so... Other than Riggs, like I already said, but, you know, I already covered it. The Cappuccino is still sitting in P4. Ashart's not making it super easy, but Yukiko knows how to run these kind of mountain roads. Huge exit. That should be done and dusted for the Mini Cooper. Sorry, the Rover Mini, which is based off that old rally car from like the 60s. Yeah, that's a squeeze. Ashard braves it on the outside. Yukiko's not having it easy here, but she will finally get ahead of the Mini. Will she get ahead of the Fiat as well? And here comes a hearse! Good lord, nearly just takes her out. Oh, that's a line. Probably a little thrown off by the sudden arrival of a Volvo hearse, but you know. Down the inside of the Fiat Lounge trim. And she's gonna out-corner that thing. I was gonna say the Cappuccino is very light. Well, most cars in this category are. It's just that this is among the very lightest, basically, period. You won't find many vehicles lighter than the Suzuki Cappuccino, even in other classes. And there is the distance that Takeuchi has to make up on the leading S13Qs, representing a new team in the Challenge Series as well, with Joshua's arrival. The Seattle Speedstars make their debut this week. Joshua's the only one with the 525 car for the time being. I reckon that could change. The rest of the members of that team, as Yukiko's gonna go right for the lead, I'm just gonna shut up, because that's more important than the team. They'll show up later, believe me. However, Riggs is pretty quickly ousted, and Yukiko Takeuchi is leading the way in the house that she built, more or less. Riggs getting a little sneaky there, almost barging the Cappuccino out of the way. They're about to lap people. Oh yeah, Alice Carson did kind of get mollywalked earlier. So, probably not good for the old timetables on that one. They're still fighting. I should not have looked away from the battle for the lead. Joshua did like the NASCAR Classic. He just got a better run by running wide. Sending it at the second to last hairpin of the 5 consecutive hairpins. I think it's 5. No, it's 4. S13 leads, Cappuccino right there. This looks like what you'd expect from like the first night on the Tokyo Extreme Racer game or something. S13Qs versus a Suzuki Cappuccino with a lap and a quarter to go. The other car is not exactly super far away, but they're not really a part of this fight either. Milo hanging on to third for everything it's worth. There's Kunimitsu Miura and a Demio is vying for that position. I think Joshua has finally lost touch with the Suzuki. Never mind! Send the mail! And that's gonna get him back into the lead. That was... I don't know if that was calculated or just plain aggressive, but it worked for one straightaway. But the Suzuki was able to get a really good exit. Oh, they banged doors again! Some touring car racing going on between what is essentially two street racers. So it's neutral, but it doesn't seem spiteful. It just seems like, hey, don't you do that, or I'll do it too. It's usually pretty easy to tell when there's spite involved. And sneaking through, you don't really fit many cars through there, but you can fit a Suzuki in that space. And that could be the final move here. Oh, that's a really good exit. I don't think the S13 has anything to offer that quarter exit. A trio of front-wheel drive cars fighting over the last podium position. Miura is literally on Milo's, like, chrome bumper thing there. Oh, so Francisco and Carson are struggling with their car handling, too. Luckily for them, the race is over, as here comes Yukiko Takuchi to win the first round of the 525 category. Joshua Riggs, with quite an explosive debut, sticking right with her in that Sylvia. Milo shall round out the podium. Everybody is pretty much in a train. Clean Teresh up to 10th on his debut, finishing ahead of him. I got beat by a fucking garbage truck. And this is one of my better results of this, of the past couple of months. Like, woo, 11th. Why is that something I'm celebrating? Robbie Sterling, 13th on debut in their Toyota Aqua. There are a lot of odder cars, and not a great day to be a Love Live girl. 16, 17, 18 for their kind. After Alice and Francisco struggled with their classic race cars the whole way through. They're the only ones they ever managed to beat. Yeah, the Seattle Speed Stars, well, I'll just cover them later. They'll be relevant soon. It seems we're coming back to this track more than we are Fuji. Welcome to High Speed Ring for the second race of the week. 675 class, as per usual. We don't really do much variety here. It's usually 715 or 675. In this case, it's the latter. And, I sound chipper because it was the first time I finished in the top 10 in, literal months. But not many other people are. I'll just say that much. I don't know. Actually, no, it's not really that crazy. It's just one driver that was really soured here. There's really not much else to say here in this intro, so we'll just head trackside, I guess. And High Speed Ring is green, and I have gas. There we go. Four-wheel drive advantage, Yo Watanabe will immediately seize the lead. Yosoro indeed. And, yeah, I got a good starting spot. That's about the only reason I finished where I did, to be dead honest. Already sitting in P9 is our POV driver, Dedrick Schwartz, in his TDR Tuscan. He made use of the progressive banking on the high lane through turn 1 and made up a crap ton of positions, I'd say. There is one debuting car right here, and that is Kazuma Hanamura with an S14. Running sort of behind, not exactly bumper to bumper, but behind his boyfriend Reiko, although that's not in the car. But what is new is, here's another member of the Seattle Speed Stars, somewhere on this thing. Sarah O'Donnell and her boyfriend, Joseph Miller, who's currently getting backhanded by a GT40. That's a sentence. And redesigned Civic for Joseph as well. Fuck me, 180 in a Civic? I mean, I get it's High Speed Ring, but holy shit. Oh, contact. Oh boy. Well, that didn't damage the Charger, but it certainly messed up the Civic, and well, his girlfriend was right there to watch that embarrassment. Hanamura is suffering. This is Porsche AG for the two members they have in this race, because there's only 2 people on that team, but Dedrick is already leading. I barely even had time to, introduce the damn race. That's pretty much all of the new stuff. It's just, hey, Seattle Speed Stars, so there's 2 people here. And then Kazuma Hanamura has an S14 based around the new Sonic and Shadow Generations that came out not long ago. And also Joseph's Civic has been redesigned. It's now no longer just a flat pearlescent blue-green. However, a new paint job isn't going to help him much when his bumper is damaged. I mean, he's hit, or he's going to just start understeering like that. battle for second, though. Dom DePrisco is going to take that away from 204 in the 675 class. Motherfucker. Still not enough to get the head of Isabel completely. And then they're followed by me and Yo representing JDM. You have the top 6 is 2 American, 2 Japanese, and 2 European cars. Go figure. It's really just these front straight battles that are the most interesting part of this race. Except for Mika Harris just sliding ahead of Yo and nearly taking my bumper off. Somehow she managed to get that thing broke down. Pacific Spirit here to try and make a statement, running 2.5 at the moment, and Mika Harris is fast as fuck, so it could be 2.4 at any time now. I say that like I wasn't here and didn't know exactly what happened, but you get the idea. Dom managed to complete this overtake on the previous occasion, and Schwartz's lead is not at all comfortable, especially considering what we've seen out of that Countach already in this race. Fucking 204th. It went down that straightaway faster than the Lamborghini Diablo can, for crying out loud. Maybe that's not true, I don't know. That's how the top speed is rated from the factory, but obviously we're not running factory spec cars in the challenge. Just watch him chase that thing down up there. 191 basically over the line. Not quite getting the same speed, only having one car to slipstream. 195 still. And the only thing keeping Dedrick Schwartz afloat is the fact that he knows how to run the progressive banking. And apparently Dominic and everybody else is not. But it's now, as I mentioned, a 2.4. And Logan has overtaken Yo as well. Evo gets really good launches, but it's not going to be that great in straight lines. Unfortunately for Yo, that's most of the track. Pretty standard at this point. Like 186, 187. That's not exactly slow going towards T1. It's just that Dominic doesn't care. He has a Countach and he's going to use it. And he's going to hit nearly 200 every time he hits the front straightaway. We have these two suckers here who've gotten damage in the race, and well, they don't exactly have the fastest cars, so even if this were a long race, they wouldn't really catch back up. Seattle Speedstar's not looking great on debut, that's for sure. 18-19 for the pair of them. Oh, that's an unforced, uh-oh. That's a big spin out. Dominic can't react. Mika barely avoids, Logan avoids, and I think the chaos is over there, but Yo has to come to a dead stop. Oh yeah, everyone's just about avoiding the wrecked TVR, and there is the red flag. Just over a lap to go, but I think with the top speed we had seen from Dom DePrisco's car, it was kind of a formality, especially since the chaos allowed him to get pretty far away from Isabel, and also because her car got damaged in that incident, as did Dominic's. So this would have really changed the race had the caution not come out. Mika Harris would have been your winner instead of Dom. So I guess it would have still been a PSR victory, but it's instead just a 1-3 for PSR, so Dominic is probably quite happy that a caution was called there. But, Dedrick's TVR not going places after that. We'll get another view of his unforced error, rather uncharacteristic, but this car is very touchy on the throttle. That view is awful. How about this one? That is better. Just overcooks it on gas. TC tries to kick in, doesn't do enough. And he finds the wall, and that alone would have been fine, but then he gets clobbered by Dominic. And that just gives him damage on every part of the car just about. And Isabel just adds her own bumper for good measure. and that is a thoroughly destroyed TVR Tuscan. Nearly rolls back into Mika because the car is not really functioning anymore, but yeah, that about sells that for the TVR Tuscan. We end up kind of going back and basically resetting the finishing order to, I think it was 6:54 on the official race time. So, posthumously, Dedrick is granted 5th place. Because that's when the caution should have been called, when his vehicle came to a complete stop. But, somebody up in the stands was a little slow on that front, and it took an extra few seconds. So I end up with P6, which is still, again, my own best result in months. It's been a difficult fucking fall, literally and figuratively, for your boy. Stephanie really crawled out of hell. She started in the back, ended up 7th. Yo did the opposite of that, ends up 8th. Noir is the last runner in the top 10. Not a good day to debut anything, as Kazuma finishes 17th in his new S14. And as I mentioned before the wreck, the Seattle Speedstars duo of O'Donnell and Miller end up 18-19. These cars clearly not suited for high-speed ring in the slightest. But it could be worse. You could be Dedrick Schwartz. You know, insane that we go to high-speed ring more often than we go to Fuji these days. That doesn't mean we don't go to Fuji. Staying in Japan for the 3rd race of this week. The 640 class takes to Fuji Speedway. And I was not there, but the fact that I didn't hear about it prior to having to commentate the event is usually a pretty good sign, because that means that nothing cataclysmic took place, and it was just a usual, casual, good old-fashioned race, and not destruction, as we've seen, you know, a handful of times here in the Challenge Series. I haven't seen much of it at Fuji, not since Season 1, I think was the last time we really had a big, like, meltdown at Fuji. Twice. And even those weren't exactly dramatic crashes. Not when compared to what some other tracks have offered, like Autopolis and Watkins Glen in the past. Regardless, with the mountain beckoning us in the background, we shall begin the sacred ritual of the Challenge Series, driving at the base of a mountain. Nice lights. We've not had that in a while. We are green from Fuji Speedway. I do like how we had a 300ZX starting last and a 300ZX starting on pole. Oh boy. Yeah, it's already starting. Fenny is just barging Reiko out of the way. Not even able to get it clear though. No, gas, excuse me. Not yet at least, but I think the DeLorean has more power, which I feel like I just sinned just saying that out loud. But it did. It did in fact have power. You were looking at one new driver right there who had a very good launch off the line. Mika Miyano and Yuna Yukimura, along with Carrie Vert, make up a new team debuting officially in this race, the Mega Miracle Force. Thank you, Cam, for zooming in right as I said that. Three-car team driving exclusively Mazda machinery, although Miyano's is pretty heavily modified, let's face it. And two have gotten off to really good starts. Yukimura has not, and is sitting in 12th after starting, I believe, in 6th, I want to say. Oh, also, I don't know if I ever mentioned that, if this came up in a previous season or not, but Full Moon Racing, after collapsing a handful of weeks ago, Riho Futaba now drives Planet Team Racing. The same team that our POV driver, Christina Campa, races for. And she's in 14th, but her 300ZX is clearly tuned more for handling and thus is not the greatest choice here for Fuji Speedway. Has a plethora of cars out to pit in on lap 1. Turn 1 chaos, most likely abound. Vert is making very quick work even of her fellow goddess Noir, and her teammate will follow her through. Oh, we have a cluster of cars heading towards turn 3 here. Nothing too manic, but, you know, squeeze past EFC, double overtake, double your money, but a triple, just pass 3 JDM cars in a row with your own JDM car. I suppose, yeah, a big surprise, right? There are a lot of Japanese cars. Fuck, it's almost like we're in Japan or something. It's the easiest to get these things here. In saying that, an American DMC DeLorean is leading the way by at least a second and a half at the moment. Vert is catching Reiko rapidly, though, and seems dead set on changing that status. The rivalry was rather transient this time round, as Spenny just saw an opportunity to grab the lead and took it, rather than being petty, which admittedly slightly surprises me. However, that was a terrible final corner for the DeLorean, meaning the top 3 have closed together quite a bit as I spoke. Compa now finds herself in the top 10 after picking through that sort of lower mid-pack section of cars through the middle part of the lap. Firebird the Tundra having a drag race over the start-finish line. That's certainly a Challenge Series staple right there. As Thrasher will out-drag a Suzuki Swift with himself potentially in 5th place. Kirara's trying everything, but I just don't think you can really do much about that thing under braking. It would seem as though this RX-8 is very fast on the straightaways. And when Reiko basically leaves a lane open for Vert to take advantage, well, she will do exactly that. It was almost as if Reiko was basically telling Vert, go get her. Do my bidding for me, RX-8 slave. I don't know what I will not elaborate because I have no idea what in the hell I just said. Compa has made her way to 7th now. I think just more picking through traffic in the middle part of the lap. Replay cameras didn't catch it. I don't know. How the fuck not? Top 3, Reiko's losing touch. Vert is drifting to stick with the DMC DeLorean. I hate the way the AI takes the last turn. That's not how you do it. This is how you do it. As what Thrasher and Compa did. Compa did it slightly better, for that matter. Vert is rapidly approaching. That DeLorean has some straight line speed, but that RX-8 is absolutely manic. I don't know what you put in that thing. But one straight line and an aggressive braking zone later, Carrie Vert is your new race leader on her brand new team's debut race. Talk about storybook. Compa to 5th, passing her BFF's not so obvious girlfriend. Crossover administered. Miyano had no idea what was coming. She's just a rookie. Penny does not have much of a resistance. That RX-8 is checking out. Final lap, and is looking like it could be a battle between the Z32s for the final podium spot, excuse me. It's a battle to see who ends up nodding for. And Noir leads a 5-car train, getting moved on Miyano into turn 1. Unsurprisingly, the Super B is going to have more horsepower than an RX-7. What am I... English! Around the outside, assert dominance over your fellow Z32 driver and sneak your way into the podium positions, but I don't think Compa will be getting any higher. the other two cars just in a league of their own today. And especially Vert, who is just a handful of hairpins away from winning on her team's debut. From, I believe, 7th on the grid. Her team all started in a row, and I think it was 5, 6, 7. It's kind of funny how that happened. Mika is going to just about break even with where she started. Not much she could really do against the likes of Kappa or Noir making their way up the field, but she's held station relatively well, and she doesn't have to exactly blow the doors off anybody when her team owner has just absolutely schooled the competition here from Fuji Speedway. Carrie Vert is your winner. Fanny Golden will come home in 2nd place, distantly, and even more distantly, Christina Kampa 3rd from the back of the grid. Reiko is probably either annoyed or impressed because she got smoked by someone driving the exact same car as her, but given her specified affinity for the Z chassis models, she's probably like, not bad. She's not a dick, despite what Fenny might tell you. Noir rounds out your top 5, Mika P6 on debut, but her BFF Yuna back here, not so much. P12 for the FC, and then everybody from 15th on down got involved in some, well, basically just chaos, just argy-bargy, bumping some fenders in, and people like to, make sure their cars are in good condition because these things have to last you a while, so yeah. Now this one I heard about. I saw it, I again managed a decent finish, but I don't really feel quite as happy about it as I did with High Speed Ring, but this ain't about me. I mean, if it is my series, I'm not the only person here. There's like 300-something other people. Ignore the fact that this week has had basically the same rotation of like 30 people showing up to every single round. I'm pretty sure that Riho has in fact shown up to all of them so far. She cannot show up to this one. Or no, she could. She didn't. She does not show up to this one, though. So this is the first race all week she misses. She's like the new age of Natsuki, who was like known in Season 1 for having the highest attendance ratio by basically never missing a race. Because she kind of had to run every race she could just to get by. But then she ended up on Black Stallion, ended up having an actually functional life, and living relatively comfortably. She doesn't have to run every race anymore because she's no longer on the poverty line. But nevertheless, the 715 class takes us to Watkins Glen. And that sounds probably familiar, but at least this time it is not the midget layout, as Logan is so insistent on calling the short course. It is the long course, the GT circuit, the sports car circuit, the boot, the extra corners. Not that the camera is ever going to look at them, apparently. I tend to prefer using this layout for faster cars with more grip. The other layout seems more fitting for slower cars. It's a shorter layout. It's not that we haven't done it before, but that's just what I prefer to do when I organize an event. And go. Away from Watkins Glen, 4-wheel drive advantage. This time benefiting Reiko Mishima, who has cast aside her previous Z chassis affinity. Her and her boyfriend have, quote-unquote, matching GTR R35s. That said, actually they're not matching at all, because Reiko's aero parts are taken from the Kamada RC410, while Kazuma's is just a regular GTR. And they're already banging doors, oh boy. That Fanny Golden is our POV driver. And I think we just saw Kazuma slide over on her, and she's not happy. Obviously, she would know that Kazuma is her bitter rival's boyfriend. As we head into the boot for the first time. Mari has managed to convert her rally spec to a road spec car, so interesting to see. converting, similarly, Brandt has converted his Super Silhouette Skyline to a 715, as his S13 has been officially moved to 750 for basic safety concerns more than anything else. Not a great start for the two resident Genk Racing Project drivers. They both just mug Siegfried Brandt, who's going absolutely nowhere at the start of this race. Gas, stop it. There's Yo again. She's appeared in 3 of the 4 races this week. She only missed the 525 race because she doesn't have one to use in it. Nearly spins on the way into the final corner as I'm watching her. Fenny's perspective. We just see Kazuma just slide over on her. She was also moving down a little bit, but I don't have the nerve to tell her that. She involves Wayne Hansen in her revenge. Oh no, anyway. And then tries to pass him normally, but is given, well, basically cut off at the pass, and she barges him out of the way one more time. Admittedly, considering how she responds to his girlfriend, though, that's relatively tame, though it's been enough to damage the GTR to take it out of contention on its debut. Fittingly, both Dom and Wayne had to take repairs, but for separate incidents. And Fenny is already looking at the top 5 and looking for more, trying to get ahead of Little Miss Yosuro. Very tight squeeze. Yo leaves exactly 1 car width between her and the grass, and Fenny will take that and run. Rapidly approaching her teammate and sending it on the Mustang Shelby thing. Now getting into the back of Madison Palmer. Looks like no damage done to the Chevelle though, as much as Isabel tried to finish the job and give it some damage by getting right up to the back of her drag racing wing there. Because yeah, excuse my throat. Yes, this Chevelle is actually a drag racing setup car. Funny thing, drag racing is the most popular form of motorsport around here. That thing's brakes match that fact. Holy shit. And now, this is the beginning of the end, I would say. I don't think it's any sort of secret that these two are not friendly at all. They barged each other out of the way at Fuji, or rather, Reiko, or Fenny barged Reiko out of the way. And I'm sure Reiko remembers that because it was just over 24 hours ago. Oh, yeah, tries to turn the Camaro. Fenny saves it, has to get on the brakes to straighten the car back out. Another big bump from the GTR. Or do we just call it the RC410? I don't know. Take your pick. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's duck. Or maybe it's a chicken. I don't know. Oh, yep, same maneuver her boyfriend did. Putting the Camaro in the grass. The Camaro is not happy. Reiko has done very well to even get that thing stopped, but ultimately, yep, there we go. Takedown! Oh! Jesus Christ! Madison, all fogged up, nowhere to go, just absolutely backhands the GTR into the outside retaining wall after it was already sent there the first time. We are about to be 3 wide, I think. No, Isabel's sending it. Oh, that's a poorly calculated move. That nearly spins both the GM muscle cars. It's uncharacteristic from Isabel. Just sends her way through the 2 classic cars. They're both wounded muscle cars, but they're still battling as though nothing's happened. As well as they can, considering the states of their vehicles anyway. I can only imagine how Madison's holding the wheel in a straight line with that kind of suspension damage. Can't really tell, that wasn't a long enough straight line. Fenny doesn't really barge her way through, but she wasn't subtle about it. Yeah, you can see where the wheel has to be turned like that. I will be surprised if Fenny pits. Nope, she's not. Obviously Madison is. But I don't think Fenny cares. Obviously she has the fastest car on the track. And that may still ring true even with the damage that she has sustained. How did Noir get involved? Oh, actually it was probably just absolute chaos, because, yeah, Reiko's fixed. So we add another 5 cars to the death toll here from Watkins Glen. And we still got time yet to race. And something tells me Fenny is probably not super pleased. No, she is not happy with her teammate. Nearly makes an absolute fucking gesture out of herself. Puts her tire in the grass, and continues to make an absolute fucking clown fiesta. Kansei Drifto. They battle into the, what is this, the heel? Oh, Isabel kind of shoves her off again. I don't get it. What has gotten into Aspinall today? I know her. She's practically a fucking teddy bear. Why is she so aggressive to Fenny all of a sudden? They have some kind of argument pre-race. Are they about to have some kind of argument post-race? Well, that seems like maybe a dumb question. So. White flag from Watkins Glen. For the, 11 drivers who have gotten through this race without damaging their car. Or without having to pit anyway. I guess 10 haven't damaged. Oh, yep, there's a tag. Honestly, now, suddenly, once again, I think Fenny has kind of earned the right. That's the weird thing. Fenny is known as being kind of an ass. She's literally putting the bumper to her teammate right now. But, like, Kazuma hit her first. Reiko hit her first on the front straightaway, nearly turned her. And then Isabel has smacked into her 3 times while Fenny was just trying to race on normally. Fenny has been the victim to start all 3 times, and while obviously you're not obligated to fight back, I don't necessarily blame her, especially when one of the 3 people fucking with you is your teammate, who is normally known to pretty much be like the most huggable person on the grid, just about. And now all of a sudden she's turned into a devil rather than an angel. Fenny will now get ahead of Isabel relatively normally, heading up to the top of the S's. Although it's very obviously difficult for her to brake properly given the state of that RS Rampage. And down the inside, Isabel sends it again. I don't know if they made contact. I couldn't tell from that camera angle. Oh, they have now, though. Oh, no. Well, there will definitely be some sparks later this evening. Boy, I think Fenny's lucky to survive that one. Okay, so first of all, do they make contact at the apex of the carousel? It kind of looked like they might have, but the camera angle really didn't help me tell. Fenny's trying to arc it in late. Isabel suddenly arrives. They do not touch there, but they do here. And Fenny loses control in the grass and finds the one part of the wall that sticks out. And even if she could save the car here, which I think she could have done, that suspension damage she's carrying would have made stabilizing the car at 130 almost impossible. And so, if I had a nickel for every time a Chevrolet Camaro has been spun out into this particular wall at Watkins Glen, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's really bizarre that it's happened twice. And this is like a custom-built Camaro and everything, you know? This isn't just a regular, like, what would this be, a 3rd generation Chevrolet Camaro? Like, this is like a custom-built model. Very few parts are OEM on this car. And that engine is not going to be easy to source a new one for. In fact, that may be just kind of fucking impossible. So I think this may be the last we see of the RS Rampage. Because that is, I believe it was a 108-mile-an-hour impact to the front right fender. That's practically caved in the right front wheel. I'm surprised it didn't come off. But the engine, as we can tell on our telemetry here, is absolutely shattered. And, yeah. I believe the caution was called at about 8:30. So we'll, And it was A33 it was called. So, again, posthumously, Fenny credited with P10, as that is when her car was considered stopped. Obviously, she had her signals on for a bit longer than that, but that's kind of usually, like, the driver's supposed to do that to sound like, hey, we need a caution. Either I'm in bad shape or we need to get this car off the track. And I can only imagine Fenny would, even despite her stunt driver actress background, is probably in bad shape after everything that's happened to her in this race. So, yay, I got 6th again. I don't feel very proud about it. This race was a literal fucking bloodbath, and I just happened to be there because I was one of 10 people who ran a clean race. So, Isabelle gets the victory for NFR, but something tells me the fallout of this is going to be way worse than any race win would ever really compensate for. The final race of week 131 takes us to an unfamiliar territory. Willow Springs will play host to the 600 category. And yeah, we raced here, I think, twice prior to this week, one of which was for a championship, ironically. It was the original Clubman Cup, which saw Tyler beef with his fellow JSR teammates at the time. That was in Season 1, so it's been at least probably 2 years since we have run a race at Willow Springs. But, Thrasher really seems to like this track. Probably because it's close to home, same as Laguna Seca, which was not the penultimate round. I was never very fond, but it doesn't really matter if I'm not in the race anyway, I suppose. Obviously that's the great thing of having 5 admins. I don't have to show up to every race. Tyler and Thrasher can show up to this one and maintain things from there. I don't have to be there. I can just commentate the race afterwards, and once again, since I didn't hear anything about the chaos this race had sown, I'm gonna burp in your ear, excuse me. I'm going to assume that this race was relatively normal. And we probably could use a bit of that after the high-speed ring and Watkins Glen races earlier in the week. A front row consisting of my 2 teammates leads us down to turn 1, but I don't think they're going to stay 1-2 for too long. Rio Futaba, in her debuting Chevy Chevelle, heavily detuned from stock to run in this category, has already seized the race lead, 15 seconds into the event. And, yeah, I know what you're probably thinking. Didn't she have a 600 class car? Yeah, what they did is they took the engine that she had in her Jimny out, put the stock one back in, and that runs in 525. So now there was an opening in 600, and then she just has a Chevelle. As I understand, she had a friend on Urban Estate that actually helped hook her up with this Chevelle. Chances are it was probably Madsen Palmer, since Chevelles are kind of her jam, but it could have been somebody else, who knows. Either way, she's doing God's work with this. She's already way ahead of everybody else. It's a way, she's 2 seconds ahead, but Nico can't really keep up too well. Amber Ashhart with the Renault R5 that's been converted from the dirt division that is now defunct. This is the story. Gina Turini in a Mazda RX 500. Yes, that's a concept car, but it was a special award. She won the Japanese Clubman Cup that ran like a week or 2 ago in that modified FC3 SFers. I'm not really surprised that she walked away with that thing. And that was the prize. So it came in that livery too, apparently. And as much as I was keen to harken back to the last time we raced at Willow Springs, where Tyler beefed with Fidel Fabian and Jake Scarborough, he is also the POV driver of this race, with no JSR in sight. And his Jimmy John's Charger is already into 7th, and a gaggle of cars heading towards the middle part of the lap. I mean, a fucking gaggle. That's like 8 people there in that, like, cluster. The dust kicked up. It's basically Sarah O'Donnell leading this little mini train of, I say the train, that's a very chaotic looking train. Yeah, there's a fucking view for you. There's the group of 600 class vehicles slinks their way towards the final sector of Little Springs. Riho and Nico are just out of here. They're in a separate category at this point. They're in like the 615 class, maybe. And that's probably just because the cars in third, or fighting for third, lost everybody else so much time. As Tyler gets blocked by the RX 500. We're gonna go 3 wide. Ooh, there's not enough room for that. 3 wide, 2 tires in the dirt. Tyler still gets ahead of the Integra. And Blair's just disapproval at the racecraft there. I think Gina is technically to blame. She had like an extra 2.5 lanes to her left that she just elected to not use. Maybe she had no clue Tyler was even over there. It's very possible, and in fact very likely, that she didn't know that. She probably thought he'd back out, or maybe thought his momentum stalled, but this is the Charger, and it has a lot of horsepower. They are going to battle through the slow section in the middle part of the lap. Gina will come out on top. Obviously, that thing is so much lighter than that Charger. It's not really a surprise that's going to be victorious in these slow corners. And then you just see the massive amount of traffic behind them. There's still another driver we haven't looked at. Another debuting driver at that. That is not a helpful camera angle at all. Jimmy Jarrett. An almost stereotypical name. Running 10th, started 18th, and is in 10th in a Pontiac Fiero. Totally a Pontiac Fiero. And he's looking for more. He's up to 10th, but there's a giant group of cars in front of him. As that was going on, Gina and Tyler continued to vie for dominance, fighting for third place, but I think yeah, the Charger finally won out on the sweeping right, and we have crested the halfway mark. Now Tyler can chase down Nico and subsequently that Chevelle, who is so far in the lead. About a 3-second advantage to her name. Excuse me again. God damn. Jarrett is in 8th now, having passed O'Reilly and Nepgear on the front straightaway, I'm assuming, but Thomas is taking it back. How the Oh, I see. Tyler just caught Nico asleep at the fucking wheel. Holy shit. Round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. I don't think Nico was prepared for that, we'll say. Ashhart is away from the cluster of cars. Thomas, the 2 oldest drivers on the grid, trying to follow each other out of that madness. Jarrett will get ahead of Kotori. That Alfa Romeo is just hemorrhaging track position. I don't think I pronounced that right, but you get the idea. Gina trying to claim the podium spot away from Nico, and Tyler is still in hot pursuit of that Chevrolet Chevelle. Funny that a driver racing under the GM factory-supported team is driving a Charger, and he is chasing down a Chevrolet. And he's more than chasing down, he has arrived. And Riho will just hold behind the outside lane. Obviously, if she can hang it there, she's going to have the inside, but she may not have that ability. Tyler got his elbows out and made a clean but aggressive overtake. But she is holding the inside. She might just be able to sneak her Chevelle back up there. No dice. Bad exit, too. But Tyler's long wheelbase is going to struggle in these slow corners. The Chevelle is not exactly a featherweight, but it may be a little better through there, and it is. Almost hung around the outside. Crossover administered. This camera sucks for that. Forced Tyler to brake aggressively. Crossover put on the Charger. And we have ourselves a real fucking battle here. Two muscle car heavyweights, kings of the 600 class, with their sheer horsepower outweighing the negatives at this rate. Gina claims fighting for third in the background. We got two battles to look at through the same corner. And Gina will pass Nico, but Tyler cannot pass Futaba just yet. But that is a very, very good exit from the last turn. White flag flying for these two American heavyweights. That camera is not helpful. Door to door through turn one. I think we'll make do the same thing here. Oh, you can't get any frickin' closer than that! These two are actual class acts here from Willow Springs. No contact, no door banging, not even dive bombs. Basically just dancing around the circuit in two of the heaviest cars in the category. I'm surprised Gina isn't catching them. They must not be losing that much time doing this. More aggressive braking. They've been too wide for an entire sector. They're going to continue to be too wide. The Charger with the advantage on the exit. Never mind. The advantage has run out. Riho leads towards the final turn. As Tyler send it in. Oh, he's not lifting. What the hell is a kilometer indeed? Can Riho cross over? No! He's understeering too much. Their tires are about to fall off those cars. Tyler McIntosh won this race at Willow Springs. Holy shit, if only every race this week were like that. I don't think I'd have a voice left afterwards. Oh boy. Well, I'm exhausted. How about you? Gina also third with her debut of the RX 500. The Chevelle debuts well with second, and another good debut as off the final turn. It's actually a drag race, but it is only 7th for the Pontiac Fiero, but that is still a damn good showing considering he started 18th. Crazy Jimmy, as he prefers to be called, may have been the fastest car on the track, and just was held up by starting so far in the rear and having to cut through all of the traffic. But then again, Tyler had to do the same thing, so he's probably second or third fastest. Yeah, after the chaos of yesterday, this is a relatively pedestrian race. These three had damage, and even they didn't fall that far behind the normal field. But that has done it for week 131 in the Challenge Series. My voice is not happy with me anymore, but the last race made it absolutely worth it. Tyler, Riho, and Gina put on a show for the ages at a track that we visited no more than 3 times in the history of the 131 episodes we have done of this series. Hell.